Hello and welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast, episode 58.
Starring
Jimbo
and Fisher.
And we've entitled this podcast episode, Nobody Should Be Going to Scarborough Fair.
So that's a reference to a song, perhaps most popularly now, recorded by Simon and Garfunkel, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's, I think their 1966 album, Parsley Sage, Rosemary and Thyme.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. Have you Wikipedia'd it?
Yeah, you spent that long messing around with the sound levels before we started. I had a quick look up and try and find out a bit more about the song. I think it was actually a traditional song written sort of in the 19th century originally. Yeah. And I think Paul Simon and Garfunkel had a version of it and decided to do their own.
A lot of people would say it's worth messing about with the sound quality to for the kind of output we are getting out there at the minute. I think we're doing well. It's our third episode, social distancing.
Yep, and obviously I think the title or subtitle of the episode is obviously a reference to social distancing, is it not?
Yeah.
And that people should be staying home to save lives.
Yeah, and
please
not going out on Easter weekend.
Unless it's essential.
No. Unless you already live in Scarborough. But I don't think the fair's open anyway.
No, you can go, if you live in Scarborough, you're allowed 20 minutes of exercise per day. If you happen to live near the fair, not a problem. But otherwise, you should be staying home and saving lives. You should be trying to help all those wonderful people who are working for the NHS and working in the care sector who are doing their bit for the country.
So how's your week been then, Fisher?
It's not been too bad. Would you believe it? My work allowed me to contribute heavily towards the staff newsletter.
Right, okay.
That we're writing during the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I'll let you know the feedback sort of next week that I get.
Have you got any feedback yet?
Well, no, I did an original draft, which sort of a piece that I'd wrote quite prominently was put sort of, as well as obviously getting important messages out there, we've got sort of a bit of a social side of it as well, just to try and encourage people to do a few light-hearted things during this lockdown period. I put a story which featured a picture of me. I put it as the first bit of this social section. Someone else went and had a look at it and moved it to last section. But, you know, literally to be the last bit in the newsletter. But never mind. And the picture of me stood next to a virtual reality penguin.
Right.
It got moved. Can you believe it? Never mind. What have you been up to, Jimbo?
Well, I've been working very hard at home, doing a bit of radio, a bit of podcasting, as you know, making a few little features. I'm back on the radio. I don't know if you know that. I haven't mentioned that for quite a few podcasts.
Which radio show is this, Jimbo?
It's on Penistone FM, and it's Sundays 10-12, but at the minute also Fridays 2-4, broadcasting from my very own home, but pre-recorded shows.
Yeah. All right, okay. So maybe that's something you could do in the future after, obviously, podcasting takes the priority, clearly.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Were you asked back, was it like Kevin Keegan going back to Newcastle United? Actually, that's a terrible example. He did rubbish, didn't he? Well, he got sacked again. But...
You know the reason it happened is because I think I did the podcast and put the videos online and so on. And then I think the station people saw that I had the recording equipment from home and they went, get Jimbo back on, quick, get Jimbo back on, quick. That's what they did.
Did they not say anything about me, who also has got the recording equipment? Do I not feature in this at all?
Well, you know, I know all the rules and regs, you know. They can't trust you with your potty mouth.
Me? I've not got... It was you that said... How did you describe Tim Martin last time? The Weatherspoon's boss?
I don't know. What did I say?
You quite clearly said that he got a door handle on his head.
Right, okay. Yes, I've also been...
I won't bring myself to state.
I've also been working from home, doing my own business stuff for my Be Presentable business as well, who sort of sponsor our podcast.
Do you want to tell us a bit more about that business?
Nah, I don't think we should keep going into it. It's a bit, you know, enough about that. But one funny thing that did happen is that I did a full sort of 3-hour training session with a university. And afterwards, I had some good feedback from a chap online on my LinkedIn and on Twitter and so on. So I dropped him a message, said, would you mind doing as a quick sort of video review that I can sort of post on my social media and my website and things like that. So I've been talking to this chap all afternoon about, you know, what kind of things he could, you know, maybe think about putting in the review and, you know, just things like that. Not putting words in his mouth, but just saying, tell me what you learned and all that kind of thing. So I get a video sent to me a couple of hours later, and it was a fantastic review. It really was. The only problem was he called me Mark all the way through it. bearing in mind we've been speaking on LinkedIn all afternoon, and I'd done a 3-hour training session with my name's James. So where Mark came from, I'm not sure. But it's one of those situations, when you're not quite sure, because they've done you a video, they've obviously, they've done you a favour. I didn't really want to correct him. I weren't really sure about, it's embarrassing, isn't it, when you have to correct someone who's got your name wrong, because you don't want to embarrass them, and it's an embarrassing situation, isn't it? So,
I mean, did you consider changing your name by default to Mark?
What, like Hugo Boss, like the fella did who changed his name to Hugo Boss? Yeah, I did consider that. I thought maybe I could just go with Mark in future. I even did
Should we just redo the intro to this episode?
Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, go on then.
All right, okay. Okay, welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast, episode 58.
Starring
Mark
and Fisher.
That works right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's all right, yeah.
Are we actually starting the whole podcast again then?
No, we'll carry on from where we left off. It'll be interesting to just see how it sounds.
Fair enough. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened to me. Somebody got my name wrong anyway. Anyway, for now, a word from our sponsors. Ever had that problem where someone calls you the wrong name, but you don't correct them, and then when they carry on, it's just too late? Don't want the embarrassment of having to tell them yourself? Give Correct My Name a call. We're a discreet service and can offer a carefully arranged name drop to correct your name and save you the embarrassment. Whatever the situation, give us a call and we'll send an agent trained in the arts of being subtle to drop your real name into conversation.
I were being called Solomon for 6 weeks by a bloke at Weckham Men's Club, but my real name's Dave. So I called Correct My Name, and for a reasonable fee they came out and sneaked into urinals with fella and just casually dropped my real name into conversation like. And it were done. I'm not Solomon anymore. I'm Dave. I've got my name back. I've got my life back.
So, if you can't take being called the wrong name anymore, then give our office a call on 7772 883 and ask for Julie.
Hey, Steve, you tit.
Sorry, Steve. So, time for drinks then. And with our podcast title being called Nobody's Going, or No One Should Be Going to Scarborough Fair, I have got a drink that I think we've had before on this podcast, Fisher. It's Scarborough Fair IPA by Wold Top Brewery. Strong and well hopped for the voyage, sending IPA from the Wolds to the world. Brewed with predominantly Wold-grown pale ale, malt, base, maize and triple hop blend, this IPA is also certified to have gluten content that is below the Codex standard of 20 ppm. Was that helpful?
I really don't care about anything along those lines. I did notice on the front of the bottle it says 6%, so great selection.
Does it? Oh, I didn't realise it was that strong. So I'll open that. And,
are we gonna do that trick where you're gonna pass it through to me?
Yes.
Okay. In which case, I better get mine poured.
Okay. We didn't think about that, did you? See, I messed it up last week, so is it your turn to mess it up this week? Right, this is yours then, Fisher.
Hang on.
I've got 2 bottles of this, okay? So we're going to go this way, okay? So here is the Scarborough Fair IPA by Wold Top Brewery. Just going to pass it this way. There you go, Fisher. How's that?
Oh, thank you very much, Jimbo. Cheers.
No worries, and mine's just over here.
Appreciate it.
There you go. Cheers. Oh, it's strong, that, isn't it? What do you think?
Oh, it's very strong. Mine
is.
seems to be quite a bit darker than yours as well.
I've just poured the drink all over myself and all over my iPad, but anyway. So, it's the new feature on our show, Fisher, which, if you remember, we call it show and tell, don't we? So we have a different item each week, and I have to give you 2 different reasons as to what this item is, and you've got to guess what the real reason is. Is that okay? So, I've brought it this week. So we both did it last week, seems like the first one, but we're going to take it in turns, aren't we? So I've got the item this week.
Yeah, I think it depends really how much sort of interesting stuff we've got in the house, but we'll alternate, certainly.
To make the feature last longer, I think we should just both take it in turns, I suppose. But anyway, here I have... This is this week's item. Can you see that?
Yeah, it looks like... Is it maybe some kind of LED light?
Well,
it's not that bloody smoke alarm we were going on about a few weeks ago, is it?
No. I'm going to press it. It's got a button on it, okay?
Welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast.
So it's like a little voice recorder little thing. So you can record like very short little bits of audio and then you can reset it and replace it, okay? So I'm going to give you two explanations as to what this is and where it came from, okay? Reason number one. This came from out of a teddy bear that I got over, I don't know, I might be talking sort of 12, 15 years ago now, from an ex-girlfriend. And the teddy bear had her voice on it, okay? But when the relationship broke down, I had this teddy bear still with her voice in the teddy bear when you pressed it, and it said something, and the teddy bear, I didn't really want to keep the teddy bear, because obviously I didn't want to keep something that, you know, that had an ex-girlfriend's voice in it, so I decided that I didn't want to throw the teddy bear away either, because teddy bears are quite sweet and innocent things, aren't they, Fisher? Would you say? Are you still there?
Yes. Particular crisis, a lot of people are putting teddy bears in the window, so good on them.
Yeah, but now I didn't want to chuck it. I didn't want to chuck it into a skip. So what I decided to do is I've got a niece. I had a niece at the time. I've got nieces still now, obviously, but I had just one niece at the time. So I decided to ask my grandma to decapitate or take apart the teddy bear, take the voice box out, do it back up, and then I could give the teddy bear to my niece. So that's reason number one. Okay. Reason number two is that actually I found this when I was moving house, and it was just as it was in a cupboard, okay, and with lots of random items when I moved house, okay, and it was when I forgot my first house. Also in that cupboard, there was a DVD called Lesbian Flesh Pots, and a tiara crown, which looked quite expensive, like it could have been from a wedding or something like that, okay? And this was in there as well. And when I pressed it, there was like a weird sort of crackling noise on it, and it took me quite a while to work out what it actually did and what this thing were. When I realised it could record my own voice, I then sort of just obviously kept hold of it and carried it around with me and pressed it all the time and recorded different things down it, and on this occasion I've chosen to have this.
Welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast.
So there you go. So that was it. So either it came from a teddy bear from an ex-girlfriend that I got removed from the teddy bear, or it was found in a cupboard when I was moving into my first house, along with other really random items such as Lesbian Flesh Pots DVD, which I don't own anymore, unfortunately, and a sort of silver-ish tiara thing that looked like it came from a wedding or something.
Okay. Oh, by the way, can I have my DVD back, Jimbo?
Of course you can.
So, I suppose the question I would like to ask is, what was the recorded message on there from your former girlfriend?
Well, it was something. It was something nice and something nice that boyfriend and girlfriend say to each other.
Okay. I presume there was just one message on there?
That you wouldn't want a teddy bear to say. It was nothing that you wouldn't want a teddy bear to say to you. It was just one message, yeah.
Yeah, so I assume it was, come and cuddle me or something like that, or,
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not sort of, what do you think about the current state of the Middle East peace plan at the moment?
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
No. Nothing about that.
Nothing too highbrow. So, this... do you say you asked your grandmother to decapitate the teddy bear?
Yeah. Take the teddy bear
Was she willing
apart.
to do that?
She seemed, well, yeah, because it got done, so yeah.
What did she use to decapitate it? Did she have a butcher's knife out and a butcher's block?
Well, I seem to think that I did it, because I didn't also want my grandma to be able to press the thing and hear the message on it, so I decided to do that myself and then ask my grandma to stitch it back up, basically.
Oh, right, okay. Have you still got the teddy bear?
No, the teddy bear went to my niece.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, yes, of course. Yeah, I was just checking to make sure you're giving a consistent story there. How old is your niece now?
Oh, 7.
Okay. Well, that's a bit strange because you said you gave it to your niece who's now 7 and it was about 15 years. Or did you keep the teddy bear for a while and it was only later on that you chopped the teddy bear up?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay.
Look, actually, to be 100% sure, I was thinking about this the other day and I can't remember if it is my niece or somebody else in the family, but I'm pretty sure it is my niece.
Okay. Well, that's well covered your tracks.
Do you quiz me on the other one?
Then. Whereabouts was the cupboard located?
It was the airing cupboard in the main master bedroom.
Okay. Do you think putting an airing cupboard in a master bedroom is a convenient place to put it, or would you prefer to have placed it elsewhere?
The airing cupboard?
Yeah.
No, it was quite good, actually, because it kind of added a bit of warmth in the winter months.
Yeah, that's what I think sometimes about having an airing cupboard in the main bedroom.
Yeah. That's not for now, but it's a different conversation, isn't it?
Well, yeah. When he gets something important...
Is that going to be our question on the... we noticed that you couldn't add a Facebook poll to the bottom of your video on Facebook. Is that going to be our question? Where would you like the air? If you could have an airing cupboard in the house, where would you like it? Is that what we're going to go for? Really boring questions?
Well, you got to find out what their opinions are. Where else would that be asked? I suppose. Why would you not check in the airing cupboard regularly? Was it in some kind of container?
No, it was when we first moved in. So I was sort of doing cleaning and sorting everything out and yeah.
So hang on, was it there in the house already?
What, the DVD and the voice box?
Yeah.
Yes, it was there when we moved in.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was there. I thought you said you found it when you were moving out.
No, moving in.
You. So it's not yours. So you're handling stolen property effectively.
Yeah.
Or was that voice box and porn DVD listed on the items that you get when you're selling a house? You can kind of tick, are the carpets and curtains included? Who's your internet provider? Who provides utilities?
Is lesbian flesh pots included?
Yeah, tick. Is there a weird voice recorder that you might be able to use on episode 58 of your podcast? Tick. Is there a tiara? Yep, of course there is. So I suppose further question is, what happened to the other possessions that were there?
I don't know actually. I can't. What happened to the crown? The tiara thing. Lesbian flesh pots. I mean, obviously never watched it. I think it just got chucked in the bin eventually. Obviously.
Okay.
No one has DVD players anymore.
So yeah, they're obviously two very plausible things. Which house was it that you moved into?
My first ever house.
First ever house.
Yes.
Okay.
In High Green.
And you presume you don't know the people you bought it off, or you don't particularly know them?
No.
Okay. So it's not as though you moved into a house that a relative you used to own.
No.
It was there, kind of thing. Okay.
Uncle John.
Yeah. Not again. Were you tempted to get in touch with the previous owner and say, look, you've left some items there?
Definitely not. Do you want your lesbian flesh pots back?
Yeah. Well, it might have been a tiara.
I'm guessing, when it was a man and woman moving out and they were kind of, have you sure you cleaned out the airing cupboard? Look, I'm just going to do the airing cupboard. No, don't do that. Don't do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll look after that.
I don't know. So two very plausible things. Actually, it does remind me that a couple of things got left in our house when we moved in. So that might be something that I use for a future possession, maybe.
So I'm going to have to push you for a final answer.
So which one was it? I think it was left in the house alongside lesbian flesh pots.
So, 2 weeks in a row, I've managed to get you to choose the wrong answer. It was actually the first one, that it was from a girlfriend. And, there is a little bit of truth in the second one, in that I did find lesbian flesh pots when I was moving into my first ever house. But this item wasn't part of the items that were left away. There was a crown tiara, but this wasn't from that incident. But there you go, once again.
Welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast.
There you go. Hope you enjoyed that little feature. How did you find that, Fisher? I mean, obviously I tricked you. I'm quite good at telling the old porky.
Yeah, I think that can you only record one message on there at a time?
Yeah.
All right, so say it would have been good if you could have recorded it to say what the actual answer was. I think that would have been a nice little feature on it.
Yeah, arguably.
So I thought that was very good. Well done.
Thank you. So, okay, are we going to talk a bit about news and so on now, or have we got any apologies or anything like that? I think we've got a headline, actually, haven't we? Or
We've
quote
got a headline,
or yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, quote of the week. And it comes from Priti Patel, who I think we mentioned a few weeks ago, didn't we, when she did an interview, and she was talking about people who've been arrested on counter-terrorism offences, and obviously demonstrated she didn't know the difference between terrorism and counter-terrorism, which is obviously quite alarming to say she's Home Secretary. And a lot of people have mentioned that that she hadn't particularly been involved in the government's response to the coronavirus outbreak, which, to be fair, as Home Secretary, maybe she's not quite as heavily involved in it as some other people might be. Say, for example, the Chancellor's economic measures, Health Secretary, in terms of actually the health of the nation and all that sort of stuff. But nonetheless, she did give she did do the briefing yesterday, and she was talking about the amount of people who've been tested for the coronavirus, and she said, yesterday there had been 300,034, 974,000, which is just
it's just gobbledygook.
Completely meaningless number that makes no sense whatsoever. It is, yeah. Did you ever watch the sketch show Mitchell and Webb?
Yeah.
When he used to play that game Number Wang?
Number Wang, yeah, which is really weird, actually, because Number Wang was around something, the whole... The sort of outside story of Number Wang was that there'd been an incident, hadn't there, where everyone was getting ill or getting sick outside of the studio, and nobody talks about the incident. And then, as the Mitchell and Webb show sort of grinds to a halt, and the last few episodes, it's all about how there's hardly any contestants left because whatever incidents happened in the outside world has crumbled, and yeah.
I don't know if you might be confusing two sketches there, but yeah. I think that might be another one that they did.
Oh, right, fair enough, yeah.
Sort of the continuity quiz.
It was another type of game show, though, weren't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Number Wang was, okay, so 31, 75, 12.
That's Number Wang.
Number Wang. Like so she just read out a load of numbers. It was slightly amusing anyway that she was there outlining the government's response in terms of extra funding for domestic abuse victims. Bear in mind, she's been accused of bullying people herself. But what was quite amusing in particular, I suppose, as well, is that a lot of people were really pleased when the Conservative won the election because they didn't want Diane Abbott to be the Home Secretary because Diane Abbott was fairly useless and very bad at sort of getting the numbers right. Instead, we've got someone who just makes numbers up as they go along that aren't even actual numbers. Oh, there we go. I thought it tickled me a little bit.
Okay, so on to the news then, which we're probably not going to spend too much time on today, are we? Because let's face it, we're still struggling, aren't we, to find anything else going on other than the old coronavirus. But anyway, shall we talk about a few things anyway?
We'll try our best.
We both pointed out, didn't we, that we noticed that one of the news stories was that Holby City have donated their ventilators to the cause, haven't they? So these, the sort of new hospitals that have been set up and the hospitals that are requiring more ventilators and stuff like that. Holby City have donated their ventilators, which got us a bit slightly confused, didn't it, as to why they actually needed proper full working ventilators on the set of a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. You've got to ensure it doesn't look sort of too much like Doctor Who in the 1970s with sort of like things made out of bits of cardboard or whatever. But do they actually need the real, genuine stuff? I mean, imagine that the NHS can't get hold of stuff because it's too busy being sat in a TV show viewed as a prop on a TV programme. I mean, do you think if they say to an actor who's got a part in Holby City, their agent rings them up, great news, I've got you that part on Holby City. Have you? What part am I playing? You're playing the part of someone who has unfortunately just suffered a bad break to their leg. Oh, right, okay. Do you think I'll be able to do that? Yeah, but they're very keen on Holby City. What you've got to do is, unfortunately, you've got to actually break your leg really badly, and then you can do the role.
Yeah, it's like so they have real ventilators, but not real doctors and nurses. Because that mean, they could have given all the actual actors to the hospitals and said, "Go on, you crack on with job. You've worked on Holby City. You know what you're doing."
Yeah. Well, how do we know they're not real doctors and nurses?
Yeah.
It could be.
I mean,
We don't know that.
how are the government going to fix the economy afterwards? Are they going to like sort of borrow lots of money from the Monopoly board and Mr. Moneybags or whatever?
Yeah.
Lots of his sort of plastic money, fake money. Are they going to do things like that?
They could do, yeah. I think they're going to do whatever it takes to get us moving again. Maybe utilise the things on television programmes.
Well, why not?
I don't know if you're going I don't watch Coronation Street or EastEnders, but at the moment, if you were to watch Coronation Street, is the Rover's Return still open? And is a Queen Vic still open in EastEnders?
Well, this is it, isn't it? Because like it's going to be, because they film things like 3 months in advance, don't they? TV shows. So something that's on now on EastEnders potentially would have been filmed back in sort of January, just after Christmas. So back then they wouldn't have been doing any of this social distancing or anything like that. So it's going to look pretty bad, isn't it? And I think they've actually some of the soaps, although they stopped filming quite a few weeks ago now, I think they've actually taken some of their episodes off air, as far as I'm aware, haven't they? Because they don't want to mix up the messages about social distancing. I think that's actually happened in some cases.
Could they not record some of the episodes like we're recording and just 2 split screens?
Yeah.
Oh, over to EastEnders. All they're doing at the moment is just 2 people video calling each other.
Yeah. Again,
Work.
like we mentioned it a few weeks ago, it's a shame Leslie Grantham isn't around anymore, because he could have done a fantastic episode. Imagine the controversy and the cliffhangers involved in that one. Dirty Den dressed as Captain Hook.
You know, sometimes if there's only 2 people on an episode, it's referred to as a 2-hander, isn't it? Well, EastEnders once had an episode with just Dot Cotton in it, where she spoke to, I think, the ex-husband, and that was called a 1-hander.
Right.
Which Leslie Grantham obviously would be fine at recording, wouldn't he?
So moving on from TV then, have you seen also something else that's come out of all the coronavirus and lockdown stuff, that after 10 years of trying, some giant pandas have finally decided to mate during the coronavirus lockdown at Hong Kong Zoo. So even they've got so bored that they've decided that they're going to, pandas are notoriously difficult to get to do it, aren't they? They haven't got the high sex drive, have they?
I've never tried, Jimbo.
You've never tried to get romantic with a panda?
Nope, never.
And again, this comes up as another occasion we mentioned pandas in the podcast, by the way. You're breaking up a tiny bit, Fisher.
Maybe a future quiz we could do. Okay, well, that's the problem we've got with technology, I suppose. But yeah, maybe a thing we could do is do a quiz by the things we mention regularly in the podcast. We could mention Leslie Grantham, your radio show, pandas. We could do basically that, couldn't we?
Just have a section for each part.
Frequent things that yeah.
But I suppose it's something that maybe a lot of people in lockdown are doing more of. Possibly.
So, yes. Sorry, you were breaking up there, Jimbo. It might be me breaking up. I don't know. It might be a strange internet connection between the two of us.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did think is, because it's not just a case of mated, but they've actually successfully conceived, I believe, is the case, isn't it?
Yep.
But perhaps, to be fair to the pandas, perhaps they found it a bit off-putting. Maybe just having loads of people walking past looking at them all the time. Maybe with the people there, he said, I'll tell you what, I can dim the lights now, put a few candles on, open a nice bottle of wine without someone just pressed up again.
But then clearly some animals... Some animals are clearly more like exhibitionists, though, aren't they? Because some animals just don't seem to care. They love it. They love the thrill of being watched, I suppose. I mean, some of the car parks I've been to before the lockdown. I'm only joking. Anyway, should we move on? I'm having to fill this dead air when we're breaking up between us, so I'm having to say controversial things to fill the gaps. Anyway,
car park at Knowsley Safari.
What else have we got?
Well, the last podcast talked about Premier League football Jack Grealish, didn't we?
Yeah.
And how we'd encourage people to stay at home and save lives, like how we opened the podcast back in the days when our sound was working well. And Kyle Walker also tweeted that people should stay at home and save lives.
Yeah.
Do you know what he then did that same evening, apparently?
Go on. I'm guessing he's gone out again. He can't help himself.
He stayed at home. He stayed at home.
Right, okay.
He stayed at home. Okay? Do you know who he stayed at home with?
Everybody? Did he have a party?
He stayed at home with one of his friends and 2 prostitutes.
Right, okay.
Okay, these are very difficult economic times, Jimbo.
Yeah.
So
maybe he's just helping the prostitutes out.
I think he's just trying to keep that local economy moving by allegedly, according to the Sun, so I must be right. Probably not, probably a load of rubbish, but he said it in the Sun on Sunday. Paid, I think, £2,200 for a night with two ladies. Apparently.
I mean,
who, by the sounds of it, one of them didn't have a clue who he was, but later found out he was a Premier League footballer and therefore went and sold the story.
Clearly bad behaviour. Now, some celebrities have unfortunately been accused of bad behaviour when actually they're not. So, Alicia Dixon being one of those. She posted pictures of herself enjoying the sun with her children and so on in a big sort of outdoor area. So, a lot of people got in touch saying, "What are you doing? You should be staying at home, staying indoors." Turned out that the pictures she'd taken of this nice outdoor area and so on was actually in a back garden, but because she's a celebrity, she's got such a big back garden that it looks like she was in a park. So some celebrities are getting it hard. I mean, okay, let's not. I'm not going to be sympathetic. They've got a nice, massive garden, but they are getting a bit of flack sometimes where they don't need it.
Oh, well, yeah. If she's looking herself a big garden, then you can't fault her for actually going out in it.
Yeah, exactly. You've gone a bit robotic again, Fisher. I'll not lie.
In there, public park. Surely a back garden is a lot more. Surely it's a bit more homely.
Yeah, you've gone a little bit more robotic again, but we're all right. We'll keep going and we'll see if we can get through this podcast, shall we? Because we've broken up a couple of times up to now already. I'm going to skip forward just a little bit to get a couple more things covered. There was, just to finish up on the coronavirus stuff, there's probably a couple more things actually as well. Because there was another celebrity that was behaving pretty badly as well, wasn't there? And somebody else, celebrities are quite good at this sort of saying, follow these guidelines, do this, but I'm not going to do that. So another one for sure, which you've got an example of, is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Which is quite good for Easter. Schwarzenegger. Sorry, I know before you said you didn't want to eat egg puns, but I've sneaked one in, I'm sorry.
Oh, well. You know the really bad thing about that, Jimbo?
Yeah.
The sound was working fine then, so I actually heard that pun. Arnold Schwarzenegger went out for a coffee whilst wearing a shirt, encouraged everyone to stay indoors. And he was pictured out going for a coffee. I suppose one thing that interests me is, what about these photographers who are out taking pictures of people who are out? Then surely they're out as well.
True, good point.
A different story entirely. But he went for a coffee. Apparently it was him, his wife and his daughter, and they ordered 2 lattes and a black coffee. And when the order was ready, she shouted up, "What have you all ordered?" And his wife said, "I've ordered a latte." And his daughter said, "I've ordered a latte." And Arnold Schwarzenegger said, "I'll be black."
Can I just say as well and confirm, the audio quality was absolutely perfect for that joke, and therefore you deserve a... There you go.
Thank you very much.
Celebrities behaving badly again. I mean, if you think... I don't, have you seen as well in the last few days that Donald Trump has... done a couple of things. He basically, again, shouldn't really be allowed to speak or be on Twitter, I don't think. So he caused a bit of upset on Friday when he said, "Happy Good Friday, everybody," when obviously to those that are religious and follow sort of, Christianity and all that, Good Friday is not the day to be sort of celebrating, is it, I suppose? So he said that. But then he also is kind of, on a day where, they sort of broke the record for the number of deaths in one day, with the coronavirus in the USA, he decided to sort of talk about the coronavirus as being a genius and a smart germ and basically bigging it up a little bit, like it's his mate.
Yeah, he said, he said it's very clever, a very clever germ. It's so clever. The antibiotics are not working because his germ.
See, if only we had technical problems when Donald Trump was actually doing these.
Did he not say? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, anyway. So as well as that then, we've got the motorist on the motorway who was caught doing 130 miles per hour, and when he was stopped by the police, he claimed that he was trying to get away from the coronavirus, so he was trying to avoid getting the coronavirus, which I know it's a fast-spreading virus, but 130 miles per hour?
I don't know, it could be a genuine story. Well, it's a genuine story because he said he was going to do it. That's what he was doing. You'd be a bit... It's a bit of a poor excuse to give, isn't it? Because there was someone who was on a fishing trip. That sounds like Gavin and Stacey. But he went from London to Torquay, about 200 miles, claiming he was just going fishing. I find it quite strange. 130 miles an hour. What's the fastest you've ever driven at, Jimbo?
Don't think I ever reached 130 miles per hour. I think if I should I be... Are you trying to lure me into some sort of trap here and get me into trouble?
Well, no, because obviously this speed that he went at was clearly on a private road, so it was therefore totally legal. Oh,
right, okay. Fair enough. Well, for me, I've never done above 70 miles per hour.
Even though I said it was a private road and you can get away with doing it legally.
I've never driven on a private road at that speed, so...
Oh, right, okay. Never mind.
And, unless you're talking about my drive, I don't think I'll be able to pick up that much speed.
Okay, never mind.
Should we move on to the next section? Or is there any other bit of news you wanted to cover before we move on? I know we've been having technical difficulties today, but we seem to be okay at the minute.
I'm not sure there is anything else that we need to cover. Actually, I should talk about the New Zealand Health Minister.
Yes.
He encouraged everyone to stay at home and save lives. And then do you know what he did?
Go on.
He got invited to a sex party with Kyle Walker and two prostitutes in Manchester. No, sorry. Wrong person. He went to the beach with his family.
Right, okay.
And do you know sometimes when someone does something controversial, sometimes they get the full backing of their Prime Minister?
Yeah.
Do you know what she said about him?
Go on.
She said, well, I would have sacked him, but unfortunately now's not the time to sack him because he does actually have an important job and he does know it quite well.
Yeah.
So he's been demoted. He is the lowest out of all the government ministers I've got now.
Right.
And the only reason he's staying on as health minister is the fact that he's got quite a good knowledge of the coronavirus and knows what's happening.
I think it's only in the last few days the Prime Minister of New Zealand's actually announced that the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny are classed as essential workers, which I think was obviously an announcement for the children more than anything. But New Zealand have actually tackled the whole thing quite well, haven't they? Because they've only got a very low fertility rate, haven't they? Because they locked down particularly early, which is obviously seen our government get quite a lot of criticism as well, hasn't it, about how we didn't maybe do it as quick as we should have done.
Sorry, hang on. What rate have they got that's quite low?
A low fertility rate.
Oh, right, okay.
I didn't say fertility.
Right?
Fatality.
It sounded like you said fertility.
I didn't say... It's his connection there, fertility. It may have sounded like that, but I didn't say that.
Right.
They need to have a chat with those pandas. But yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, obviously our government... I'm not sure about what I get about this. Some people are praising Boris Johnson like he's the next Winston Churchill for guiding us through this crisis, when actually he's not finished doing that yet. And also, he didn't really, or the government in general, not just Boris Johnson, didn't really take the maybe speedy approach that the World Health Organization had suggested. And, although I'm not one of those people that wish badly on Boris Johnson, obviously I wanted him to get well, and it's good that he appears to be. For them to sort of start saying, let's give him a clap on a certain evening. I'm not sure about that, considering that it was his party and probably himself as well who decided that they'd applaud when they won a vote for or not raising the wages of nurses a few years ago. If you remember that, Fisher.
I do remember that, and obviously it sounds like Boris Johnson, I think, has possibly left hospital today as well, and that's obviously good news, and we very much wish him well. The same as we do for anyone who catches this particular really bad virus that you can get. It was quite amusing, wasn't it, though, just seeing the flyer going around on Facebook saying clap for Boris. I mean...
I don't think he needs any... He probably doesn't need any help with that, does he?
No, I think he's covered on that front. But as I say, it must be very frustrating for him. He's obviously realised he'd left Dominic Raab in charge of the country, so he's tried to get himself out of hospital and back onto the front line as soon as possible. Do you know what's interesting about Dominic Raab, by the way?
Go on.
He's a black belt in karate, and he's already had a hip replacement.
Oh, there you go. That is a great fact, great news. Where do you get that from?
Just the internet, so it might not be true, but I think it was. I think it is.
The Waste of Web Space podcast. You can find us online, wasteofwebspace.co.uk. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and Fisher's always on Pornhub, dirty boy. So, I thought I would do a little feature for you, Fisher, that involves Easter, because, of course, it's Easter, and we want something Easter-themed, don't we, in the old podcast? What do you reckon?
We do, and fingers crossed you do the majority of the talking, because our internet connection is not that good, so hopefully you ask long, complicated questions, and I'll give you a one-word answer.
I feel like there's been an improvement since the first part of the podcast, so that's all right. To our viewers and listeners, you may or may not have noticed that we have had to record this in 2 segments because it got so bad that we've had to sort of restart it, haven't we? But anyway, never mind. That's what happens during these difficult times, isn't it? So, Fisher, I'm going to do a quiz for you, a bit of a game, and it's going to be a bit of like a Who Am I quiz. So you know Who Am I, where you can answer questions and I can only say yes or no to your answers, those kind of things.
I know you are. Your name's Mark.
No, it's not Mark. You know full well it's not. We're not going in over that again. Anyway, so you've got to try and guess about which celebrities these things are that I've got in a second. Okay, all will be explained in a minute. But Fisher, what have you been doing with your spare time? How have you managed to fill some of your time being in lockdown?
Because I've been that bored, I have actually rearranged all my spices in alphabetical order.
Really? Where did you find the time?
It was just at the end next to Tarragon.
Hey! There we go. Look, there you go. Symbol for you. A bit delayed, but there you go. So, what I've been doing is, because it's Easter, I found I had some old eggs. Unfortunately, I'd let them go out of date. I don't really eat many eggs, to be honest, and these came from Pancake Day quite a while ago, and I realised I still had them in the fridge, and they've gone out of date now. So what I have done is I've decorated the eggs, and I've decorated them as some celebrities, and then I want you to do a bit of a Who Am I game with me, and you can ask so many questions, or you can ask, like a 20 questions type thing, and guess who it is by asking me, are they a singer, or they, and I can say yes or no, and all that kind of thing. But you'll get a bit of an extra clue because I've tried to decorate them as the celebrity that they are. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
You can describe if you could do the job of describing what you can see to the listeners as well who can't see this on video. Is that all right? Okay.
Yep.
Are you ready for the first one then? Here is the first egg. Can you see that clearly?
Okay, so that is an egg. There's not very many distinguishing features. It's got a very plain face.
Well, that might help you though. That might very well help you.
Okay. So is it now for me to ask questions to try and identify who that person is?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a panelist
on the
TV programme Eggheads?
No.
Are you a panelist on the TV programme Eggheads?
No, but that would be a very good panelist on the programme Eggheads. No, I'm not.
Yeah. Are you a celebrity?
Yes.
Are you a singer?
No, but yes.
So someone
not
who maybe
trade.
does.
Not by trade.
Have you recently been involved in singing, even though that's not necessarily your main profession that you're best known for?
Yes.
As well as being, I think I might know who this is.
Does the non-distinguishing features help now?
It does actually a little bit. Are you, as well as being an egg, are you best friends with a baked potato?
Yes.
So, are you Matt Lucas?
This is indeed Matt Lucas. Congratulations. Well done. You see what I mean now? That was the easiest person I could possibly have to put on an egg. I've not had to do much there, have I?
Well, that's a bit offensive to Matt Lucas, but yes, it's fair to say...
Well, he's got no hair, has he?
Got no hair.
So it helps. So, are you ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay. So here's the next one.
Right, okay. So this person appears to have got black hair, sunglasses. They've got something on the side of the face, which may be some ears, but it might have done some square brackets. Instead of got a mouth, he doesn't have a mouth, but it looks like he's playing the harmonica. And he's maybe got a chin, which
can I explain the odd sort of face features is meant to represent not so great plastic surgery.
Okay. Right. Okay. So is it 20 questions again?
Yeah. I'm not counting, but you know.
Are you Simon Cowell?
Yay! Well done. Congratulations. Now, did you manage to get that because of does it look like Simon Cowell, or was it because I said about bad plastic surgery?
Yeah, I watched Britain's Got Talent last night, and as soon as you mentioned bad plastic surgery, it kind of gave it away, really.
Well, I thought you were relevant because you are right. Britain's Got Talent's been back on. Did you enjoy it? I've not watched it myself, but how did you find it?
It's quite good. There were, if you watch the end of it, there's I think it's last act, a fantastic group of dancers from India who were called X1X.
Right. Okay.
Who did some kind of amazing dance acrobatics act that really was quite impressive. I would highly recommend watching that, just for the sheer wow factor of it. It was quite impressive.
I will check that out. Next then, are you ready for the next one then? I've put a lot more effort into this one, Fisher, so I hope you're ready. Okay.
Yep. Right, so it's put something up. It suggests this person's maybe got ginger hair or red hair.
Yeah.
They're wearing glasses. They've got something like a smile, but he might have got a bolted dish on his face. I don't know. His nose is quite simply enormous.
Maybe it's not that big. I think that was a bit bad artwork on the egg.
Yeah, either that or he's got a magnet stuck to the front of his face in the U shape. So we'll play 20 questions again, and my initial question would be say, is it Chris Evans?
It's not Chris Evans, no. If you're going with the hair, then you're on the right track.
Is it Joe Brand?
No.
Is this person an actor?
They've done some acting, but they're not an actor.
Okay. Singer?
Yes.
Is it? Are they a popular singer? Are they sort of in a band that's quite current?
They're not in a band, but they are.
Oh, sorry.
They are.
Are they quite a current artist?
Yep.
Should this person, if you'd have done their arms, would it be covered in tattoos? I'm
not 100% sure on that one. I couldn't give you an answer there. I don't know about their tattoo-ness.
Okay, right. When you said he does a bit of acting, was he in the A-Team?
I don't think so. Oh, hold on a minute. I know what you're getting at now. Yes.
Does this person live in Lowestoft in a Lego house? Is it? It's Ed Sheeran, isn't it?
Well done. Congratulations. It is Ed Sheeran. There you go. So, but it's not Ed Sheeran. Can I just make clear?
Are you going to say it's Egg Sheeran,
It's
aren't you?
Egg Sheeran. There you go. Congratulations. Are you ready for the last one? Okay, because I've only got 4. I did use 2 eggs out of this egg box, so I've only got 1 left.
Make pancakes.
Yeah. So, but I've used them. At least they've been useful.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't disagree on that front.
Okay. So I feel a bit bad for wasting them because I just don't eat many eggs. But I've actually used them and thrown them away. So there you go. This is going to be a bit more difficult.
Okay, so this appears to be a lady, although it's difficult to tell. Although obviously you've got to be careful in terms of what you say in this world of being gender neutral and all that sort of stuff. She's obviously cross-eyed by the looks of it. She's it looks like she's a bit like Peppa Pig, so got noses on both sides of her face. She's got nice eyelashes. She's got black hair that appears to be jet black hair that's kind of almost bobbed. Would you say that's a bob style?
Possibly, yeah.
Surprisingly, she's completely bald on the back of her head as well.
I didn't have time to do the back.
Didn't have time to do the back, okay. So I'm going to say, look, it looks like someone, for example, who might be Courtney Cox, might be the kind of person she looks like. I'm not saying that's who it is.
No.
Although that wasn't a guess. I was just,
All right, fair enough.
that was just describing it to our audio listeners.
I would just like to say that had I got a darker egg, I would have opted to draw this on a darker coloured egg.
All right, okay. Steady on.
No, you know what I mean. I'm just trying to help.
Right. Is this person a singer? Are they an actor?
No.
Just a general TV personality? A politician?
Yes, you're in the right ballpark. Yeah.
Let me think.
They're certainly involved in politics.
Have they been in the news recently?
They're generally somebody who's they're always they tend to always be in and around the news every now and again. Not so much over the last say 3 years maybe. Not so much over the last 3 years.
Let me have a think.
In particular, they probably went a bit quieter in the last 3 years.
Gone quiet in the last 3 years. So that suggests, have they perhaps lost an election?
Not lost in an election, no.
Have they been? I didn't ever think. I suppose this is not great podcasting. Me just thinking, is it? Are they British?
No.
Are they American?
Yep.
Is it Hillary Clinton? Is it Michelle Obama?
Congratulations, well done. It is indeed Michelle Obama. I'm very scared of dropping these eggs, by the way, over some very important and expensive recording equipment. But there you go. That is Michelle Obama. But it's not Michelle Obama. It's Fisher.
Me eggshell Obama.
Yeah, sort of. Michelle Obama. But yeah, me eggshell works just as good. Well done. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Did you enjoy that game at all? Enjoy that?
It was very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, really good.
You sure it was? Do you promise?
Yep.
There's a rat in your kitchen. What are you gonna do? Just give us a call. 66642. Got pest problems? Rats, mice, lice? Prince Andrew? Give us a call. We'll sort it. Whether it's vermin, insects, alleged paedophiles, or the president of an entire country, no problem is too big or small. Unless it's Brexit. We're not dealing with that shit. We'll even remove the Daily Mail and the Sun from your Twitter news feed. There's a rat in your kitchen. What are you gonna do? Just give us a call. 66642. Okay, so on to Fisher's little quiz that you've got lined up for us. I'll put my eggs away now.
Okay. Thanks. So I've got a quiz lined up, which is particularly around old things on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit mindful that, given the current circumstances we're living in, all of a sudden, your mum and dad have got to start using the internet again, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they probably heard about the internet a few years ago, and they'll be talking about some. They don't quite keep up with the times at times, their parents. So they'll be talking about sort of Ask Jeeves and all that sort of stuff, won't they? That's the internet from their era, and they still think that's the current stuff you use. So I've got questions about things that have maybe phased out or not there anymore. I've got 10 questions, so I wonder what you think to it. So, how much is it estimated that preparation for the Millennium Bug cost? Is it about $300 billion or around $300 million?
So
now, given the sound quality is not very good, I would say that the first one, I said $1 billion, and the second one, $1 million.
No, I picked that up. Was the Millennium Bug one of those things that was really overly worried about, and actually it turned out not to be a big deal? Was that right?
Yeah, a bit like coronavirus.
Well, let's just hold that thought, shall we? But they expected sort of planes dropping out of the sky and everything, didn't they? With a sort of Millennium Bug, they were worried about all sorts of stuff. All because they didn't think computers could deal with the numbers. Basically, is that right?
Yeah, they got confused. I think some programming language couldn't handle going from 1999 to 2000. I think some computer systems went from 1999 to 19100 kind of thing.
Which is funny because you'd have thought that, like, when it's not like computers have been around for centuries, is it? You'd have thought they'd have thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, who did the programming language? Priti Patel.
Let's go. I mean, a billion was probably, we're talking billions. Is probably about a more normal number now compared to what it were back then. So I'm going to go with the millions. I think 'cause billions would have been too much back then. I think so. I'm going to go with a million. Was it 3 million? You said
300 billion or 300 million.
300 million in that case.
And unfortunately, you'll be wrong.
All right. That's a lot of money to spend on that, isn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't really that bigger effect in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
The general consensus afterwards. But then perhaps it was only not much of an effect because they sorted out the problems beforehand.
Yeah.
And spent money on it. Who knows? Bebo. What does Bebo stand for? Can you remember Bebo?
I do. It was a social media site, weren't it? Or like one of the first ones, a bit like a MySpace.
Yeah. Did you have an account on Bebo?
No, not for me. No. I don't know what it stands for, but no, I couldn't even have a guess. I was going to try and think, see if I could work it out. Is this a quiz, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, this is the question.
Have you got multiple choice for me?
I've got multiple choice. Does it stand for breathe easy, bring originality, just encouraging people to sort of be original, be creative? Or is it blog early, blog often?
Oh, blog. Was that a bit early for the word blog? Was blog was, I suppose it's been around longer than what probably possibly think. Let's go with the second one. Let's go with blog.
Blog early, blog often, you'll be right.
Interesting.
It's not a question. It's not actually a question formally in the quiz. No, not that the quiz is actually a formal thing. You don't get a certificate after doing it or anything like that. But do you know the word blog? Where that comes from?
No, I don't. I think, or maybe I do, but I forgot.
Okay. Well, which one? You don't or you do?
No, I don't. I probably, when you say it, I probably think, I have been told that before, but I can't remember.
It's a combination of the word weblog, and they've got rid of the W and the E at the front of it. So what was weblog just got rid of the first two letters and became blog.
Yeah.
So there we go. Well, that's the end of the quiz today anyway. So no.
You thought like
what did the
Wlog would have made more sense. Blog sounds better, but Wlog because it's more like it makes more sense. Whereas just the B itself doesn't really make any sense, does it? But anyway,
I don't see why I didn't just call it weblog.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did the National Space Agency of Ukraine do in relation to Bebo in October 2008? Was it that they sent messages from around 500 Bebo users to a distant planet? The message will be received in 2028. Or did they live stream the takeoff of a Ukrainian mission to Mars? It was described as Bebo's biggest ever event.
Right. Well, I don't know what the point in sending a message to another planet would be because they've got no idea if that message can be received, and they couldn't be that accurate to. I don't know. I don't think they could know that. So I think that's a pointless exercise. Whereas I think the thing about the live streaming, was it? Did you say the launch of the Ukrainian space mission or whatever it was? So I'll go with that one.
Yep. And you'll be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, they did actually send, for 501 users, they sent messages from Bebo users in the Ukraine to a far distant planet. It will take about 20 years for it to get there. I'm not sure what it was going to say in the message.
Mm-hmm.
This technology is now redundant. No one uses the website Bebo anymore. Something like that. Lycos. Do you remember the word Lycos? Do you remember Lycos?
I do remember Lycos. That was a search engine as well, was it?
Search engine. I think it got a big black dog as its logo.
Yeah.
If you remember. Where does the name come from? Is it a play on the words lie because, as the inventors want to produce a search engine that will promote a greater level of of knowledge, of truth and knowledge, or is it short for the Latin word lycocide, which means wolf spider?
Oh, I think the first one seems to make more sense, but whether I don't know, like I don't think back then people believed that there was so much fake news as what there is now, and that there wasn't as much on the internet to be inaccurate, I suppose, possibly. So I would say the second one, and it was something to do with, like you say,
Second.
Yeah, let's go with the second one.
Yeah, the wolf spider. You'd be right. It was wolf spider. So, can you remember Friends Reunited? Did you have a profile on that?
I never did know. We were too young for
I think
that,
we were
weren't
probably
we?
a little bit too young.
Yeah.
It was sort of probably the first social networking website in the UK, perhaps. Kind of the people who'd left school start putting the details on there, and all of a sudden they could reconnect like they never had done before.
A bit redundant because people sort of do that
it was
while...
very, very popular.
But people do that now while they're at school, don't they? So they never kind of lose the contact in the first place, as you did when you originally would have left school. You would have completely lost contact, wouldn't you? In the past. Are we there? Oh, God, he's gone again.
I'm not too sure, Jim, but I think we're losing contact there because you've got... Yeah, I think we're losing contact at the moment, unfortunately. My voice has probably gone quite robotic.
No, you're all right. You're all right to me. I can hear you okay.
Okay. Well, you kind of broke up a bit, but whatever. Anyway.
Okay.
So
I was just making the point that people don't kind of lose touch now because you sort of you stay on social media together at school, at start of school, and then you'd leave school, and now you don't lose contact like you used to do.
Yeah, you didn't have to reiterate the point. I would have just watched it back when I watched the recording later on tonight. But yeah, Friends Reunited was a particularly popular website.
Yeah.
It was bought in 2005 for about 120 million, with also an option to pay an extra 50 million, depending on how well the website performed. Who bought it in 2005 for a price between 120 and 170 million? Was it ITV or was it Virgin?
Interesting. I mean, I've got nothing to say which one it couldn't be, but I think Virgin would have been more likely to, because they've got. I would say Virgin have got a bigger. Well, then again, ITV's part owned by the Murdoch Group and all that sort of thing, isn't it? So it's a tricky one. I'm gonna say Virgin because I think they have quite an array of different sort of products and sections and things like that. So I'm gonna go with Virgin.
You'll be wrong. It was ITV.
Can I just ask a question? Is your wife on Netflix?
She's not. I hope not, because we've not got a Netflix subscription.
Or anything heavy on the Wi-Fi?
Not that I'm aware of. I can check later on. We do normally watch this back together, so I'm sure she can comment at the time as to whether or not she was watching internet TV.
Because she could well end up being the next title in the next podcast, the next episode title.
As far as I'm aware, she's not doing anything untoward with the amount of bandwidth we're using. ITV, by the way, sold Friends Reunited. They paid between 120 million and 170 million for it in 2005. They sold it in 2009. Do you have a guess roughly how much they sold it for?
So how much did they buy it for again, sorry?
It's somewhere between 120 and 170 million, depending on
They've got to have made a loss on it, so let's say 30 million.
Oh, Klaus, 25 million is what they sold it for.
Okay.
So quite a big loss on there. MySpace, everyone remembers MySpace, don't they?
Particularly Tom. He was everyone's mate, weren't he?
Everyone's mate. Well, he was everyone's mate. Tom Anderson, I think his name was. Not to be confused with the referee on Gladiator. That was John Anderson.
Oh, you ready?
You will go on my first whistle. I met him once at university.
Yeah?
Yeah, he did some. Yeah, there was some kind of Gladiators superstar thing, and he was a referee on it.
All he did was whistle at you.
So that could have been a good question for a possession, couldn't it?
It could have been.
The time I met John Anderson.
You've given it away.
So, which music act is believed to be the celebrity with the most MySpace friends? Is it Linkin Park or Eminem?
This is tough because both were really big at the sort of time, I think. So, but I reckon, and I think based on the scene at the time and the people that were using MySpace, I think people who might you consider rockers and things like that, I'm going to go with Link. What? I nearly said LinkedIn Park.
Yeah. Different question.
Linkin Park, yeah.
So Lincoln Park from Lincolnshire. Yeah.
No, I said LinkedIn. I said LinkedIn as in the other the work social network. But anyway.
Oh yeah, don't get involved in that. Lincoln Park, you will be wrong.
Oh, I thought I was convinced I was going to get that right. Okay.
Yeah, I would have thought sort of Linkin Park or My Chemical Romance, something like
Yeah.
that. But no, Eminem apparently.
Okay.
Most popular celebrity.
Has he got loads of accounts on there though? Like loads of accounts that you just don't know which one's him. So, and sometimes people had to message him saying, "Will the real Slim Shady please speak up?" Sort of thing. Yeah, I think we did that joke last week as well. Still, deserve it.
Well done. MySpace. Now we're talking about MySpace again, and I think you mentioned Rupert Murdoch. News Corporation bought MySpace in July 2005. How much did they pay for it? Was it 580 million or 58 million? And that's in dollars.
Give me the numbers again and when it was bought.
July 2005.
Yeah.
By Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation. Was it $580 million or $58 million?
I'm going to go with the big one because I think at that sort of time, I reckon there was a bit of concern for it because things like Facebook were coming about and on the horizon. But I reckon they thought they could save it and keep it up there with the same sort of followship as what Facebook's got. So I'm going to go with the big one.
Yeah. Well, at the time it was sort of the social media site, wasn't it? So yes, you are right. $580 million.
It was very soon after that Facebook really took off then, weren't it?
Well, I think there was a time possibly when we first joined Facebook, that you had to have a university email address to be on it, didn't it?
Is that right? All right, I'm not sure.
Yeah. It is when I joined it. I'm not sure about itself, but you had to put you went to university, put which university you went into, and that was kind of how it all started,
right,
and
okay.
obviously got rolled out on a bit larger scale, obviously. Now, News Corp narrowly edged out the US media giant Viacom when bidding for MySpace. How did Viacom respond? Is it that they paid $50 million for a 10% share in a relatively unknown rival website called Facebook? Or did they immediately fire their chief executive saying that they're embarrassed not to be able to buy MySpace?
Let's go with the Facebook one, and they were the lucky. Although 2000, yeah, let's go with it. Let's go with Facebook. So I think it was around the right sort of time. Yeah.
I think you've demonstrated a complete and utter failure to understand the sheer cutthroat world of sort of high-powered business. And of course, the chief executive of Viacom was sacked straight away.
Oh dear.
They basically said that they were embarrassed not to win. Was sort of their philosophy on it. So, News Corporation then admitted that the purchase was a mistake, and they sold MySpace in 2011 to Specific Media for $35 million, which is a whole about half $500 million less than what they paid for it. And obviously, if you find the idea of Rupert Murdoch losing that amount of money, then you should be thoroughly ashamed of yourself, obviously.
Maybe it was less money than he could have lost a few years later, supposedly.
Could have been,
Is
yeah.
it even still a thing? Are still people using it? Are people still using it, or?
A little bit, not particularly, but it's still there. So it was bought for, as I say, $35 million by Specific Media. They had a partner who was involved in this particular consortium to buy it. Who else invested in it? Was it Justin Timberlake or Jay-Z?
Jay-Z's a well-known sort of entrepreneur, isn't he? Like, got his fingers in lots of pies and stuff. Including Beyonce's sister. No, I'm joking. So I'm joking now. I don't think that's right. That's not wrong. That's wrong. I think that's a completely different story, isn't it? I think there's something else involved there. Do you remember the whole incident in the lift with Solange?
Lift, yeah.
I don't think he was involved in
it was wrong
sister,
on many
was
levels, wasn't it?
But anyway, let's go with. Yeah, I'm going to go with Jay-Z because I think he's more. I know he's quite entrepreneurial.
Jay-Z, you will be wrong as well.
How have I managed to guess so many wrong today? There's only 2 answers on each one.
You should be getting 50%. I mean, a monkey could get 50% here, Jimbo, on average. So, our final question. Blackberries. Can you remember Blackberries?
Yeah, you had one.
I had one, yeah. Oh, well, a lot of other people had one as well. They were a very popular phone back in the days. I'm assuming from the way you said you had one means that you never had one.
No, never had one.
I thought they were really good. The keypad on it, absolutely fantastic.
What was the old messaging that you could say BB me? Was that right? BB me or something?
BBM me.
BBM me, that was the one.
If you said BB me, someone would come out with one of those little guns that shot 4 bearings out. They'd shoot you, unfortunately. But you could BBM people on BlackBerry Messenger. It was great. It was really. It was basically, well, to be honest, it was just like a WhatsApp for BlackBerry specifically.
Yeah.
I didn't really see what the point of it was. It was nothing particularly special. But yeah, it was sort of they were the popular phone at the time. And if you remember, back in the early days of us doing the Waste of Web Space website, in 2013, I think it was.
Yep.
I did a blog challenge where I wrote a blog every day for 100 days.
A weblog.
A web blog challenge, yes,
yeah.
All right. I did that for 100 days. I wrote pretty much all of those on my BlackBerry. You could sit there and you could type really, really quickly on the little keypad.
Yeah.
Really good phone. However, obviously, pretty much no one uses them nowadays. And in particular, what happened to BlackBerry on the 10th of October 2011 that really kind of damaged sales? Was it that all email stopped working for around 3 days? Or was it that the CEO revealed that he actually uses an iPhone?
I think I remember this. I think this is something that does ring a bell. I'm going to go with the CEO saying that he used an iPhone. But why would someone do that? I don't know. But I seem to think that's in my mind somewhere. But then if I'm going to continue down the route of guessing things really badly today, then there we go. But I'm going to go with that one.
Okay, well, Jimbo, you're nothing if you're not consistent. Of course you're wrong.
That would have been a really foolish... Sorry about that, by the way. We've had loads of technical glitches today, haven't we? That would have been a really foolish CEO, by the way.
Well, such things have happened. I might do a quiz about the serious faux pas that chief executives have made, maybe, because there have been some real beauties where just one comment that someone makes can completely and utterly send the entire company off the cliff. So that might be a future quiz to do, perhaps. But no, it was that on BlackBerries, they sort of stopped working for about 3 days, lost all connections to the BlackBerry servers. Someone had done something, didn't quite work, and it meant that pretty much it used to be quite a popular phone with businessmen as well. Mm-hmm. It was the sort of email stopped coming through, and people just moved to using iPhones instead.
Yep.
So it took them out of the market. So there we go. That's some old technology.
No, I really, really enjoyed that, and I think we managed to just scrape through with our technology as well, which has been a bit of a lag today, hasn't it? We had a bit of a slight struggle, we would say. But anyway, thank you, Fisher. I really, really enjoyed that.
Jimbo Fisher, Radio Web Space Podcast. Thank you.
Did you hear that? Fisher? Are you there? Are you there? Right, I'm going to end this podcast on my own because it's just died on us. Fisher's just not there to be seen at all. So I'm going to close this podcast, bring it to an end.
Sorry, Jimbo, you broke up there.
Yeah.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can do. I'm just saying, I thought I was going to...
I'm still there.
I'm going to end this podcast myself because I think we're struggling so much. Just to let you know, the last little the little indent we played there, that was my daughter Ada. That's her first little appearance on the podcast. So there you go. I don't think Fisher heard it, but certainly he'll be able to hear it when he watches the recording back. So I think because we've just had so many technical problems today, I think it's now a good time to bring our podcast to an end. And just to make this situation even better, my iPad has even died and the batteries have gone. So I can't even play our outro theme anymore. Are you still there, Fisher?
I'm still here, Jimbo.
So
was that your daughter recording a little scene for us there?
It was, yeah. Her first appearance on the podcast.
Well, thank you very much. She did a fantastic job. Pass on my best regards to her.
It's probably the one thing that saved us because of the terrible technical issues we've had. But anyway, please do get in touch. wasteofwebspace.co.uk. Tweet us at wasteofwebspace. Facebook, Waste of Webspace as well. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back again next week, hopefully with less technical issues. But please do get in touch with us in the meantime, and we can always give you a shout out next week. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Fisher.
Cheers. Bye.